All right, so today we're diving into this, well, it's a truly radical plan. One that connects a sinking megacity on Earth with, get this, the future of humanity out in space. It's an incredible story about how solving one massive crisis right here might just give us the blueprint for building brand new worlds. Okay, let's get into it. So, I want you to just think about this for a second. What on earth could possibly connect these three things? You've got a city on the absolute brink of disaster, a massive, ancient network of faith communities, and a completely new generation of computational intelligence. Seems totally unrelated, right? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to unravel today. So, first off, it all starts with a crisis. And we're not talking a small problem here. We're talking about an environmental and public health catastrophe on an immense scale, one that's threatening the lives of over 10 million people. Then, an unexpected hero enters the story. A powerful, ancient force for bringing people together, and it's being totally reimagined as an engine for ecological restoration. And finally, you've got the tech. But listen, this is not the kind of AI you're hearing about in the news every day. This is a new kind of intelligence, a hybrid system that works in a way that's, well, it's unlike anything we've really seen before. Let's start with the problem itself, because it's incredibly urgent. We're talking about Jakarta, a city that is literally sinking under the weight of its own water crisis. Just look at that number, 40%. A full 40% of Jakarta is now below sea level. And you might be asking, how is that even possible? Well, for decades, residents have been forced to extract groundwater because the piped water is either just not there or it's totally unsafe. This causes the very land the city is built on to literally collapse. And, beyond the sinking and the flooding, there's this hidden danger in the water itself. This chart here shows PFOA levels. That's a really nasty forever chemical in Jakarta Bay. And they are 10 times higher than in a place like San Francisco Bay. So this isn't just an infrastructure problem. This is a severe, severe contamination crisis. And the cost? Oh, it's immense. When you combine the constant flooding, the contaminated water, and all the sickness that comes with it, you're looking at a hit of $2 to $3 billion to the city's economy. And that's not a one-time thing. That's every single year. The city is just bleeding money, health, and hope. So with a problem that big, where do you even start to look for a solution? Well, it turns out the answer begins in a place many of us would never expect: Indonesia's unique and incredibly powerful Islamic environmental movement. Now this is a core idea that's driving real-world action. This theological concept reframes environmental work. It's not just a nice thing to do. It becomes an act of perpetual charity, of worship. This is the motivation behind grassroots movements like Los Carrijo, which, by the way, has already reforested hundreds of hectares. And this is where you see the sheer scale of the plan. The goal here is to transform 70% of Indonesia's 800,000 mosques into what they're calling eco-mosques. These aren't just places of worship anymore. They become these decentralized hubs for solar energy, for water harvesting, and for community-led green projects. It creates this massive, trusted network for change. Okay, now for the third piece of our puzzle, the technology. And again, this is not about building one giant all-knowing AI. It's about a fundamentally new, kind of hybrid approach to intelligence. This slide really gets to the heart of the difference. The AI we're used to, it scales by just getting bigger. You throw more data at it, add more neurons. This new approach, though, uses something called structural scaling. It's about combining different types of computing, like analog, quantum, and neuromorphic, into one coordinated system. Here's probably the best way to think about it. Compositional AI is like having an elite team of specialists. So your analog computer might be the expert at predicting floodwaters in real time, while a quantum computer is the master strategist for figuring out where to send resources. They all work together, perfectly coordinated for whatever the mission is. Okay, so we've got the crisis, we've got this incredible social movement, and we have the technology. So let's look at the actual blueprint. Let's see how these threads are woven together into a real, concrete solution. First things first, how do you pay for all this? Well, not with the usual venture capital. Instead, this plan taps into established Islamic finance tools, things like Kashwaf and Zakat, which are basically forms of charitable endowments and almsgiving. They unlock this trusted, decentralized funding network of millions and millions of people. So then, who's in charge? The way it's governed is absolutely key. It's a decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO. And as you can see, the residents themselves hold the biggest share of the vote at 40%. This structure makes sure that the project is serving the community, not some outside interests. It really empowers people at the local level. Now, the plan is definitely ambitious, but it's also methodical. It starts small with a pilot in the highest risk areas of Jakarta. Then it scales up across the city, then it's replicated nationally, and then, well, then it looks to the stars. That long-term vision is baked right in from day one. And this is where the story takes its final, absolutely incredible leap. Because this entire project isn't really just about saving one city. It's a full-on rehearsal for engineering brand new worlds. This right here is the conceptual jump. At first glance, toxic water in Jakarta and toxic soil on Mars, they seem worlds apart, obviously. But if you look at it from a biochemical perspective, they're actually very similar challenges. It's all about one question. How do you neutralize harmful chemicals to make an environment safe for life? And the answer, incredibly, is the same for both. The very same synthetic biology techniques used to engineer microbes that can break down those toxic PFAS chemicals in Jakarta's water, well, they can be adapted to engineer microbes that neutralize toxic perchlorates in Martian soil, making it fertile. And it doesn't stop there. The fast-growing bamboo used for reforestation in Indonesia, it could be engineered to mine for subsurface ice on Mars. The DAO governance model that works for a Jakarta neighborhood, that becomes the blueprint for a Martian colony pod. It's a direct technology transfer from fixing Earth to exploring space. Which really just leaves us with this one last thought. In our quest to solve our most urgent, desperate problems here on Earth, are we accidentally writing the instruction manual for humanity's future beyond it? Could saving Jakarta actually be the first real step to settling Mars?